Well, I'm sure if you're anything like me, you've been on a lot of Zoom calls. And I saw someone posted this, which is so very true, is that when we're on these Zoom calls, we will be looking in people's background and see the books that they've got on their bookshelf. And I'm many times more distracted by the books that are behind people than I am actually just paying attention to the Zoom call itself and what they're saying. So I thought actually, because I think that a lot of people are interested in the books that people have, I thought I would share with you a portion of my collection of books and maybe tell you a little bit about them. Let me bring you right over here. What I've done actually here in my office is I've organized all of my books so that they are in like groups, and they're I put them in groups of the types of books that they are, so I can easily find them. And this section I'm going to talk about here are what I call just great stories. These are books that they are professional books, they are business books, but they're books that tell a story. And as you're reading the story, you end up learning something while reading it. So the first one that I'll share is called The Traveler's Gift. The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews, one of my all-time favorite books. I highly recommend reading this book. And what this is, it's a story of a single character that goes through time in multiple periods of history. And in that, he ends up coming in contact with some very famous leaders in history. And in his interactions with those leaders, and of course the leaders are the only people who can see him, they end up sharing a story and a lesson that they've learned that has helped to make them the effective leader that they are. So it's, I would say, a relatively fast read, and I can say that because I'm typically a slow reader, but it is just a really fun story. I've actually got underlines all throughout this entire book. I can't give this away for anyone else to read, so you'll have to go get this book yourself. The next one that I want to share is called The Noticer. The Noticer, also by Andy Andrews, just a terrific storyteller. And by no coincidence, it's about a character, and the character learns lessons from this guy named Jones. In conversations and helping this person through obstacles and troubles and things he's struggling with, ends up sharing life lessons that apply really to anybody. So another book worth checking out. Another one I've got on my list here is The Fred Factor by Mark Sanborn. This is a terrific true story, actually, of Mark Sanborn. This is a story about his mail carrier and the exceptional service that his mail carrier provided where he lived. And there are just lessons galore about just enjoying your job and making the very most of it, and really being world class. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard of a world class mail carrier. In The Fred Factor, Mark Sanborn describes world class service as a mail carrier. Highly recommend this book as well. Another book, I've had this recommended to me by multiple people. It's called Built to Sell. And this is a terrific one, especially for business owners, because what Built to Sell does is it tells the story of a guy who thinks he owns a business, but really in actuality does not own a business. The business kind of owns him, and how he really shifts his mindset so that he is now running a business that can run on its own. And when you've got a business that can run on its own is when you really have a business of value and maybe ultimately able to sell it. This isn't necessarily a book to help you to sell your business, but it helps you with how to position your book, or how to position your business so that it is able to be sold if you choose and so desire. But it's just a good way to run a business, whether you want to sell it or not. So another terrific book. Another book, one of the last two I'll share here, this one's called The Dream Giver. And this is a great book about people who like to live in what's called the land of familiar, and how to shift from just living in the land of familiar and live actually in a land where you can dream big and actually accomplish those big goals, which is something I certainly share with my clients, is how to go from where you are now to ultimately achieving the big goals that you have. And then the very last one that I'll share, actually, no, I've got two more here, is The Go-Giver. This is a terrific book that tells a story about a young professional who is just starting out in their profession, and as they're going in the profession, ends up finding a amazing mentor that helps to teach him professional life lessons as he is creating his own success in his career, as he's building his career from the very beginning. So The Go-Giver is another one. And then the very last one, this is a terrific leadership book. And this is a leadership book whether you are in a formal leadership role or not. It's called The Power of TED. And what it is, it's about how as a leader do you empower your team to make their own decisions so that they are almost running themselves, maybe even without the leader, which is the ultimate goal of any leader, is to lead in a way so that the team runs itself. Another just great story, and as you can see here, I've got underlines all throughout this entire book, one that I can't really give away to anybody. So those are some of the books. I expect to share additional books and other collections that I've got in future weeks as I do these videos. But if you've read any of these books, I would love to know, what have you thought of these books? Have these been empowering books for you? Or what storybooks, because these are great stories that I've got in my bookshelf, what are amazing storybooks that also help you to learn lessons and to learn how to develop and be more effective yourself? I'd love to know what other books maybe should be on this shelf that maybe I don't have yet. Share them in the comments. Let us know what you think. All of this we talk about is about authentic success. Authentic success, I believe, is something that both you and I deserve to have with confidence.